And before we get into any of this, I want to start with nothing but love and positivity. Even though toxic is bike. Boy, did Elliott smoke December. Round of applause, man.
Yeah.
Round of applause to Elliott Wilson, B. Angeletti.
Yes. Shout out Elliott and B. man.
And D. Dot.
and D. Always shout out to D.
They really smoked December with the Drake interview, with the Griselda interview. They bounced right back. First interview of January, Rock Marcy.
I didn't see that.
Shout out to Rock Marcy too.
Yeah,
Good project.
Always.
Great project. They stocked up. They talked to a lot of these artists. They dropped them in December. I want to commend Elliott and B. for running this streak of ending the year with really huge and significant interviews. The Hove interview, whenever that was, the Will Smith interview, whenever that was, and here we are yet again at the Drake interview. So I want to give Elliott and B. flowers. Huge accomplishment there. Did I hit the round of applause button already?
Yeah.
All right, so it's cool to hate. All right.
Different love. Not hate.
Different love.
But what do I need to expound on as far as Drake coming off Insecure to me? Is that a only Joe thing?
No.
Because I always think, and I'm crazy, so it's fine, but I always think that some of this shit is blatantly obvious or should be to the viewing audience. Drake has told us for many years and many albums that he's insecure.
That was going to be my point. I mean,
one, and
something he admits.
Yeah, and two, in this interview, if you believe that to be true, when you hear it in the music, how could you not still see it and hear it in the man? Now, mind you, I've probably gone through way more therapy and psychology and lie detector tests and body language fucking counselors, and they put all types of people in front of me to figure shit out. So I'm coming from a different psychology.
How did the lie detector test go?
I failed the first one.
That's interesting.
I failed the first one, and after I failed, they told me how not to fail it, and I never failed another.
Was it something specific, or they was just trying to put you in front of everything?
They put me in front of everything when I was telling the therapist, Lucille Ball, shout out Lucille Ball, wherever you are. I think she's in New Jersey somewhere. But I was telling her that I rapped, and she wanted to hear rap, and I let her hear the acapella of a song called Gotta Watch My Back. It's been released, so fans have heard it. And it was some suicidal shit in there.
Okay.
So she put me in front of everybody, that a lie detector person to see how I was really feeling and thinking, and a psychologist and a pathologist. So it was madologist.
Gotcha.
And that was the beginning of that. But so I say that to say I come from a different psychology when I see these things. So I would rather hear from you gentlemen. And I spoke to Rory, so I know how he feels. Tell him, Rory.
No, I think of course I think there was a lot of insecurity within the answers that I think, were put together prior. I think, again, I'm not saying this in a negative way of the cleanup thing. I think Drake is Teflon. You can't beat Drake. I'm not ever saying Drake had a bad year, but there was some chinks thrown in the armor for the past 2 years. There were some things that needed to be addressed. He tried to address them on the shop. It came off wrong. And Drake is going into 2020 with an album probably in the first quarter. I'm just making that up, just assuming he's coming. So he needed to clean everything up going into the new year, drop it on Christmas. I'm going to be back to being the nice guy for 2020. Everyone is on my side, as they should. It was a great fucking interview. He said a lot of things. I really enjoyed it, but it was a cleanup.
Maul, not needed to, because I don't want you to get confused with these megastars. He didn't need to do anything.
Of course he didn't.
But it would be
We're all buying the Drake album regardless.
But it would be a great idea to get out there and clean some shit up. Same thing Biebs did a few weeks ago, knowing that his album was done and needed to come out, and he needed to write an apology for harmonizing nigger.
What did Drake need to clean up?
I think he came off not great on the shop with the Pusha T thing.
Well, no, he didn't come off. He didn't come off great on the shop. Period.
Okay.
With whatever
specifically with
whatever he had to say on the shop, they killed him immediately after the shop.
For what? I don't remember.
Drake didn't need to clean up because he didn't tell people he had a kid yet.
I didn't say anything about that.
And
Well, what
and we
other
started
what other
with he
shit would
didn't
Drake
need to do
clean
this.
up? What other shit would Drake need to clean up?
He doesn't need to clean
besides
anything
that?
up.
No, but I'm saying what else? What else?
And I refute even that. Clearly, Drake felt like he needed to address the kid stuff because he addressed it as many times as Kev addressed the Oscar stuff. So don't tell me that he didn't feel he needed to clean that up.
I don't think
He
think
cleaned
was,
it up in the album. He cleaned it up in interviews. He cleaned it. He's been trying to clean it up.
I don't.
Yes.
I don't.
That was a damaging line or tactic. Who cares if it's true, not, if it really affected Drake internally? I'm not talking
Yeah,
about that.
who cares?
Publicly, he had some work to do. I agree with that.
And for the first time, Drake is extremely calculated. He's a mad scientist to some degree, and is really good at articulating
to
himself.
every degree.
He's very good at articulating.
He's really good at articulating
Yo,
himself.
Mo, you think he lost that battle still? Or didn't lose that battle still?
No, he didn't lose that battle.
And for the
Please
first
don't
time, Maul,
sidetrack us.
for the first time, Maul, Drake was on the other side of the internet and their jokes and their opinions for the first time, and it's a rare place for him to be. So I think he needed a real human moment, and he's really good at articulating himself. So let's sit with Elliot and B Dot, who actually have some credibility in the interview space, and have a real talk. We'll start with my whole story. We'll get into some personal shit. We'll clean that Pusha T shit up real quick, and I will be the most liked rapper again going into 2020.
And it's important to note in all that shit Rory just said that this is that Drake has gone X amount of days, weeks, months, years now without releasing music. See, that's important to me in my cleanup notes because music is the greatest cleanup.
He just put out music.
Always.
What was
Put
it,
out the
June?
war. No, he put out a record right before this. It was a
Well, he
man. It was a
addressed-
man's record.
Well, he addressed
I liked
that.
it.
He said he takes longer recording now.
As he should.
That's great.
should, yeah.
I'm just saying that music is the greatest cleaner upper. And
Always.
in a year when we haven't gotten so much from Drake, which leaves us to talk about other things, this is the first time that they found a lot of things to say about Mans.
Okay, well, that's what y'all took from it.
No, by the way, I took a lot from it. I thought it was a great interview, and I loved.
It was the best, worst interview I've ever seen.
The best works.
It was the best. It was the greatest, worst interview
Explain
that
worse.
I have ever seen.
Explain worse. What made it the greatest worse?
I should not be able to tell how produced, overproduced this is. I should not be able to tell exactly how this went about being published. I should not look at this and for this to be your in-depth 2-hour sit down, feel like some of the vulnerability was practiced, rehearsed, routine, and just one of the greatest actors in his acting bag.
I didn't take that from
Yeah,
that.
I don't feel like that at all.
But
That's
I will go back and watch it with that.
That
I
is-
think no, it's funny. I think I agree for the major ones like the Culture Vulture stuff, the Pusha T stuff, like the big ones. That was my least favorite part of the interview. Like when he was just being Drake and they was kind of kicking it, and he was relaxed. That was the best part of the interview to me. I didn't even particularly care for the stuff that made the headlines.
Yeah, me neither.
I thought it was a phenomenal interview when the three of them were just kicking it and Drake was being Drake. When he got into the, all right, now let's address me doing Afro beats. That's where I'm like, all right, I know why Drake does it. And I would do it too if I were him. I'm not mad at him at all. But I know
how
what
did
it
you
is.
feel about like
I'm
the
not
points
stupid.
that he made?
Yeah, I need more magic than just the rabbit out of a hat today.
How did you feel about the points that he made in regards to the Culture Vulture thing, for instance?
It was exactly what I thought he would say, and I don't think he's particularly wrong in saying them.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's the part for me that confirmed the insecurity that I was feeling throughout the
that
interview.
was the answer I knew he was going to say, and I'm not mad at the answer.
Well, he was right. I mean, and a lot of shit that he said. I never looked at. That's why you can't just call Drake. I always tell people you can't call Drake a rapper. Like he's an artist. You know, he's outgrown rap. He's outgrown that box of just rapping. And whenever he introduces or brings a different sound to the table, I always said that comes to me being from Toronto. Mm-hmm. You're around a lot of the Caribbean culture.
Right.
It's just a heavy Caribbean culture in Toronto. So to me, it always made sense that he made songs.
You have to stop this fucking caping bullshit in 2020. You making?
How am I caping?
You making
what
all
are you
this?
talking about?
You make sense right now.
He's from Toronto.
I know,
Some of his best friends are from Caribbean descent.
That's true. He's not from the UK.
But let me get to my point. How is that caping? You can't just call something caping because somebody doesn't agree with your point, Joe. That's not caping.
It's caping if you're going to ignore all the other genres.
I'm not ignoring. You're not even letting me finish talking.
shutting
I
up.
said one thing about Caribbean descent, and you said caping. What are you talking about?
I'm shutting up.
All right, so what I'm saying is he's always been somebody that has introduced sounds, different genres to his catalog. He's always experimented with different. He never just stays in one box, which is why he's the biggest artist of the decade. You can't be the biggest artist of the decade just rapping. Rap is not big enough to just be the biggest artist
In this
just
day and age,
rap.
I don't
sure.
know that to be true either.
It's very.
Joe,
You
that's
have to.
true.
Kendrick
It
is
is
in the
true.
same conversation, and all he does is rap.
Worldwide, I think
I don't know about
Kendrick
that.
is not as big
numbers-
as an artist as Drake is.
He's not.
I'm not
He's
going to
not.
say that.
No, he's not.
No.
He's not.
All right, then. So you cannot just
And
cannot be the
even
biggest.
Kendrick be trying to get in his different bags that rappers wouldn't really get in to compete.
So this is what I'm saying. He experiments with sounds. He experiments
He's
with
all the better
different
for it.
culture, but he gets killed for it because he's not from
British or from
right.
the
And
islands.
it's like, but why does he have to be from that to make that type of music? Like, I never understood that. So his point was, I just always wanted to shine light, use my platform to shine light on these sounds that I think are dope. Which to me is a dude using his head. Like, I get that. I understand that.
I don't think he told a lie. I don't think he told a lie at all.
Right. So that's
No,
back to, so how am I caping? I'm just telling
Well,
you that
I
I
think-
agree with what he was saying.
I'll tell you this much: if he
people's-
was coming to these sounds and styles as organically and naturally as he said he was in that interview, Drake is the illest.
Well, he's already the illest.
Well, no doubt. But I mean, he's the most successful. But
All right.
like,
So
Listen,
how am I caping now?
I would love if he went
okay,
into
that's
Irish
all
step
about
dance.
How am I caping?
You caper still.
How?
Well, because people.
Like, I'm not. How am I caping?
I agree with what he said.
Me
but,
too.
But people feel, in his quote unquote culture vultureness, that he is taking from a genre and profiting from it and does not care for it. I know that is not true, but that's what people think.
Well,
And we
people
don't- and
people
we
gonna
don't
think
know.
what they want to think.
We don't know. We don't know.
People-
but I
people-
think Drake
We think.
really cares about Afro beats, the grime scene, any dancehall stuff.
I think Drake
I
really
think
cares.
Drake
I
cares
think
about
Drake
that.
really cares about the betterment of music
I
as
do
a
too.
whole. I
Yeah.
do. I also feel like Drake was early to the party of, and probably taught the record labels a little something about, hey, why are we just in the U.S. with this?
right.
Especially when one of the biggest streaming
Why are we not attempting
platforms
why-
is not in the U.S.
Why are we not attempting to make this thing as global as we possibly can? I thought about that a lot with the passing of David Stern. Rest in peace, David Stern. I'm sure we'll talk about that shortly.
Rest in peace.
Legend, of course. But all anybody had to say about David Stern was what he did for the game of basketball, how he expanded it, and how he made it
Globally.
global.
Yeah.
It forced me to go right to this interview with Drake. And while I'm on this, let me sidebar my sidebar. Rappers, artists in 2020, don't be afraid to ask about what the fuck is going on internationally.
True.
Like, they want us to only focus on the U.S. and the U.S. numbers and the U.S. touring and the U.S. books. They say you don't have access to the books over there. You got to access this department. Don't fall for any of that fuck shit in 2020, please. Now,
I'm telling you, it's a big lie.
Yeah.
it's like the biggest lie.
I'll tell you, when Emotional Oranges was in Europe, went to every single streaming service office in every major country they went to.
Hey, you go
And
to
it's not some rinky dink shit over there.
Nah,
it's a
no.
full-fledged fucking office.
E and start asking them about how many albums you saw in Europe. Them niggas gonna start looking at you like it's ghosts in the room. They start looking at you like you got 3 heads.
They,
like you
they
had
hiding
no
all that.
Man, listen, man. But back to Drake. So yeah, I do believe that he was one of the first to that party. So I'm with you, Maul. I say you can't because you have to at least acknowledge or try to understand why other people are saying what they say. Now,
people gonna say what.
listen, I
always.
don't give a fuck about
yeah,
what people
but
say.
you can't say I'm caping and then agree with what
Okay,
I'm
I
saying.
take
I'm
it.
not saying you're
Well, yes, I
No,
can.
you can't say I'm caping and agree with what I'm saying. How? How does that work?
That's something Joe would do, though.
I
What are you
can.
talking about?
I can.
You said I'm
You're
caping.
caping too.
What are you talking about?
Fucking Cape
I'm
Brothers.
not caping because I am acknowledging the other side of that coin and the people that feel that way. Not just trying to convince them of how I feel, and I feel like you. That's the difference.
But he spoke on that too.
I'm mad at his answer. Let me get to that because that was confirming the confirming of the insecurity for me.
Okay.
I would have loved for him to say, "Yo, I make these records because I fucking feel like it. I'm great at it. Suck my dick."
Drake can't
but
say
you
that.
can't say that.
I feel like he kind of said that.
No, he didn't.
Nah,
Not that outwardly.
No,
I think that he said that.
He
Like,
said,
yo, I just fucking around
he
with some
said
sounds,
The
and this is
real,
what we.
the real G's from these genres. I know them. I link with them. They come to my studio. They come to my stage.
This is a horrible impression.
Well, that's what he said, and he's right. I believe him.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen the pictures.
Yeah.
But so what? Like, that's great, and that could be true, and that could exist. That should not be why the man himself feels like. Why the man's himself feels like.
Add that S buttons. Oh damn! And you started the S at the end of the name. Yo, you
I started mad shit, man. Started mad shit. The man himself, I don't think, should feel like that is why I have a pass to do these things. And if he's alone and asked about it, I don't think that's his answer. If he's met with any resistance there, I don't think that's his answer. I think that's the answer there because to the other people that don't feel like we do about him, it's the safest way for them to understand why this is.
But I feel like I don't have a quote offhand, but I feel like he said that he was just trying shit because he liked it, and
he said that.
so,
And it worked.
And then he also said, but I also linked up with the OGs.
he went about it the right way before releasing it. Like,
Yeah,
I'm interested in the
I get-
genre. I fuck with y'all.
Drake's ill, man.
Yeah, I just don't see how you could walk away from this interview not appreciating him as an artist more.
And he gave you a shout out. Come on, man.
That didn't work on me.
No,
The shout outs, he didn't just give me a shout out.
he gave a lot of people shout out.
He gave at least 30 people a shout out. Drake understands his star power. I've never heard him shout that many people out. Even that tiny fact said to me, oh, this is clean up city. I'm saying great shit about everybody.
Nah, not everybody.
No, he didn't say great things about Push.
No,
I'm not talking about Come on. You guys.
I'm just saying. No. But to me, it just shows that he's in tune.
Well,
You know what I mean?
Well, we never believed he wasn't.
Yeah, but but to the people that didn't know, and
So I
didn't
guess
think
this
he was.
interview, see, and that's why I try to shut up during Drake interviews because, like you said, Mo, Drake has transcended hip hop. Even though this is still a space, like he said, that he exists in, and he acknowledges that competitive, creative space still.
Yeah,
Well,
So
he's
let's
still,
not use the transcend line to say that
He's
he
left
doesn't
it.
participate.
he hasn't abandoned it. No.
Yeah.
No, he's more aware than I think the younger artists that are even in that space that they exist in their age group. If that made any sense. The younger artists that are coming in are less aware than Drake is as a quote in rap terms an older artist.
Yeah, but it's
Which is keeping him relevant in that space too. That's why he's been so successful because he makes amazing albums but still fucks with what's going on at the moment.
It reminds me, my whole career, when the small community of Joe Budden fans was screaming that Jay-Z was dissing me, all of the masses could say is, Jay-Z has no idea who the fuck you are.
Jay-Z's another artist
and
that's
all I wanted to
extremely
scream
aware.
was, do y'all have any idea the man y'all are talking about?
No. Nobody's that
this
successful
man
and not that
knows
aware.
when a pin drops in your house. He is aware. They're all aware, except him. But the rest of them are aware. How did we get off that? What was we talking about? Oh, him being aware. Oh, the names.
Yeah.
Yeah, the interview. Listen, I love the interview because I love hearing Drake speak about things. He's very articulate. He's very bright, extremely talented, and I stand with him on 99% of issues. It was the interview we wanted. I do not think it was the interview that we needed. And that's my other beef about this interview.
You didn't think we needed this?
Man, get the fuck out of here, Elliot. I should call Elliot right now.
Why?
Because why did he do that?
Why did he sit down with the biggest artist in music?
No.
Why did he what? Why did he what?
I hate when Rory laughs at me when he knows what I'm saying.
I
what are
actually
you
wasn't
saying?
even listening.
I'm
Sorry,
I'm
I
telling
was
y'all.
on my
I'm
phone.
just telling y'all how I feel. I don't like when Roy does that.
Okay, but what do you mean by?
What did you
Come
say?
on,
I didn't even listen to what you
Elliot.
said.
No, I got this, Roy. Hey, different love. Come on, L.
Oh, you're talking
Elliot,
about-
if you nigga, yeah.
Okay.
King.
I didn't listen. My bad.
Nigga King.
Well, but wait.
I don't think it's how it works.
By the way, that's not going to be the title either.
King nigga.
But why you didn't want Elliot to do this?
Maul.
I'm just trying to understand.
Joe wanted to do it, man.
Drake is never gonna sit down with Joe.
I am
That's never gonna
super
happen.
glad that I had nothing to do with this interview. And once I saw the interview, and that sounds like hate, so let me clear that up. I was glad I didn't get this interview because this is probably the interview that the masses needed from Drake.
Okay.
I
never-
would not have gone in there with this energy, with this questioning. I wouldn't have cared
This
so
isn't
much
this
about.
isn't us, anyways.
Yeah,
Nah.
it's like this is different. So I was glad
And that's
that
not a
the
negative thing.
masses got the
They're
interview.
journalists, we're not.
That they got the interview.
For the
that
most part, they
needed.
asked the right questions.
They asked all the
I
right
think
questions.
Yeah, I think Elliot and B-Dot did a great
They
job.
covered
at that.
everything.
I think everything
the
that
masses
people
wanted
would
to
have
know.
wanted to know.
They
It may have been
asked-
2 or 3 that I was kind of like, well, why he didn't bring that up? But you know,
They
whatever.
asked all the right questions.
Even the early shit, which they didn't need to ask, I loved.
Yeah,
They asked all the right questions for this interview in this setting in his house.
but because I feel like there's a but.
No, I mean they did.
Oh, but you said why did Elliot do this though? I'm still trying to understand what you mean by that.
Why is this on Drake's YouTube channel?
That's what he's. Yeah.
Why is this produced?
was on Tidal,
Wait, let me
too.
finish, please. No, it was not. 5 days and 7 million views later. Stop making me sound like a hater more. I'm just
this was
offering
on,
different
This
love.
was on title. I'm not understanding if you don't
Of
understand.
course, it was on title.
Oh, you talking
but,
about the audio?
Yeah.
No, the video was on title too.
Yeah, like
Okay.
I watched
Not
the video.
7 million views later. It was not immediately available on Tidal, and we could check this so we don't have to argue
I don't know about
it.
immediately, but I know it's
Not day
available on
1,
Tidal.
not day 2, not day 3, not day 4, and maybe day 5.
Nah, it was quicker than that.
Yeah,
it was
it
quicker.
was-
than
Just
that.
All right,
check
all
it
right,
so
guys.
we don't have to go through it.
Yeah, it was quicker.
The
All
point
right,
still,
even that
the
being
point stands.
19.6 million
However
subscribers.
many, yeah, what are you talking about?
And this was a Drake production.
Directed
It was,
by
That may be true.
his
That may be
man's
true.
directed it.
Yeah.
This is a Drake production.
How come
I'm
it's
going to go
so
on a limb
hard
and
for
say Drake
y'all to
edited it.
Just acknowledge.
I'm
like,
telling you
facts
that I
we're
watched it
saying.
on the bus upstate on Christmas Eve, which was I think the day after it came out.
You
Maybe
didn't
the
watch
day
it.
it
You
came
did
out.
not watch this the day after it came out on Tidal. You
did.
not. No, you didn't. No,
did.
you did not. No,
Okay.
you did not. No, you did not.
Joe's tight. You don't even know what
Okay.
you're talking about, Joe. It was
All right,
available on
guys.
Title, bro. What are you
Guys,
talking about,
okay,
bro?
all right.
Oh,
by
that's
the way,
dope.
by the way,
I take that back.
Yo, can we
stop.
man?
Fuck what Joe's saying. That's not even my point. Great. It could have been on title the
Yeah,
exact
y'all
same
getting
time.
married to a point.
That don't matter. It's on Drake's YouTube page, directed by his mans,
thank you,
edited by
Roy.
his mans,
Thank you, Roy.
audio by his mans,
Okay.
put together by his mans.
Okay, knock
This
it
is a
off,
Drake
man.
production.
Okay, but what's the problem? I don't give a fuck what channel it was on. I'm happy as the fan and the people that we got this. I don't give a fuck whose YouTube channel. I don't give a fuck whose
That
streaming
means a
service.
lot.
I don't give a fuck.
It means a lot.
Oh, you-
it
I
means a
don't
lot when the
care.
artist is editing the
Bro,
the
I don't
fucking
give.
interview.
I don't give a fuck about any of that. We got a great interview. We got an in-depth answers. We got all of that.
well, you
fuck
speak,
whose
you,
channel it's
well,
on.
you
I
speak
don't
for
give
yourself
a fuck.
then. I don't want the in-depth
Y'all getting
2
caught
hour.
up in yeah, but
I
y'all
don't-
getting caught up in the dumb shit though. Fuck that.
That's
shit.
not a dumb
It
point.
don't-
That's
at all.
not dumb.
That's not.
It don't.
Hey,
that it's on Drake's channel. That's dumb.
That
That
it's
is
his shit.
published, produced, directed, and fucking
He's the
editing
biggest
everything.
artist
by-
in the fucking in music.
So what? He ain't a fucking interviewer.
Yeah, but so what? I'm the
What
biggest
the fuck
artist
are
in
you
music,
talking
so
about?
I'm
You know,
gonna
if
have
you-
it on my channel as well as y'all put it on your
I
platform.
thought Joe was fighting for the Elliott creators.
I am.
Okay,
Elliot is an interviewer.
Title had it.
Yeah.
Title had it. It's not that they didn't have it.
Maul, stop getting. I'm wrong.
Okay.
No, stop. Don't say
What-
nothing. I'm
what-
wrong.
what link did Drake
wait,
post?
Wait, stop.
I'm just saying, that's my point. It was on Tidal.
Stop.
It was on Tidal.
Because Maul does that a lot, and in 2020, I won't allow him to. You are correct. Not now. Disattach yourself from that one point.
I'm just saying,
because
what
my
is the-
point is broader. My point is, let me explain it to you so you understand.
Okay.
When we're supposed to be getting an in-depth look into an artist, because that's what this was, a 2-hour sit down. I prefer it to not be on the artist's terms. The end. What don't you understand about that?
But why do you prefer not to be on the artist's terms though?
Okay, never mind.
If you're the biggest,
if you
you're
don't even understand that, then
so you don't understand how the biggest artists in the world move. You don't understand that it's
No,
always
he
it's gonna
understands
be
that.
on
He
their
say he would
terms.
prefer to hear it from or have
yes,
it.
I do.
Yeah,
I do.
All right.
I knew.
If this was Beyonce, it would have been on Beyonce's channel. Like
It's not Beyonce.
If
so
it was
wasn't on
Beyonce, if it was
Beyonce's channel.
Beyonce, I can guarantee you that it would have been somewhere else as well.
But it's not
Her,
because
her
Beyonce.
Netflix special was on Netflix. Am I right?
yeah.
She could have created some fucking website and had her own shit.
What she produced that whole thing and they put it out on Netflix.
But what I'm saying is she controlled that is what I'm saying. When
All
you're
of
the
it.
biggest artist in your space, you're going to control that. That's just how that goes.
It's different between a production
disagree.
of your.
I understand your point.
your home
I
That's just
completely
how it goes.
understand.
I
You're
understand.
the biggest
I
artist.
understand Joe's
You're the
point.
biggest artist for a reason.
You're absolutely right, Mo.
That's
You're
all I'm
absolutely
saying.
right.
So when it
But I
comes to this
understand-
shit, I don't care that it was on title the day after it came out. Like,
But I understand Joe's
You know what's
fight.
funny about Maul? He's the biggest artist. You're right. So in his biggest artist way, he already tried to do his, for lack of a better term, cleanup before this, right? Because you transcend hip hop and you went about doing that. You did it next to LeBron. You were dressed in the music. You did it in your own way. None of it worked, right? So now, back to that bubble that you transcended, but you still exist in. That bubble is Elliott Wilson. He is the person that is representative and symbolic of that here. So that bubble, yes, you are the megastar. You are the billionaire. But in this moment, that bubble is really important. And it's something that you as the artist, from what I see, deem to be very necessary here. So then don't neglect that. That's what I'm saying. Don't make it appear that that is not the case, because it is. Elliott is needed here. There's a reason, and maybe we don't know, he would have never done this with Zane Lowe. We'd have never got this with Zane Lowe because Zane Lowe is trash. Like, let's stop downplaying Elliott, his role, his
that's
position here.
But I never would downplay Elliott.
Well,
I'm
you-
just saying
you-
that
you
it was
telling me
it was
that-
available on title as well.
No, but we got that part already.
some deal. We do know that some deal was made, right? Like, it's not like he just took it and said, "Yo, this is only gonna live on my channel on YouTube." Like, he didn't do that. Obviously, he broke bread with title, broke bread with Elliott, and I'm like, yeah, y'all take it here, whatever. They agreed to the terms. I don't see the fault. I don't see.
Well,
what's
you know
wrong
the
with that.
first thing that Pusha said when he came and sat down with us?
I can't remember. No.
One of the first things he said was, yeah, well, unwarranted too. We had asked him. Yeah, I'm glad. Yeah. I needed to come here because y'all are the litmus test. Because y'all see through A, Y, Z, B, B. You remember all that whole spiel he went on? That's the only thing I'm addressing. That's all I'm addressing. Is that. That exists. There's a reason for it.
Okay, I'm following you that, but I'm saying he sat down with the right people, in my opinion, which was Elliott and B. Dot.
We agree there.
I agree.
Right?
Yeah.
So you're speaking on why is it on?
I'm speaking. No. Man. We offer that.
No,
Y'all
but
was
you-
right.
but no,
It
but-
came out a day after on title.
Right, but so that's all I'm saying is I don't want to get too caught up in
The politics.
the politics of it.
But
You know what
it
I'm
is
saying?
important. I
I'm not
understand
saying it's
Joe's-
not.
All right,
I'm
well,
not
that's-
saying it's
that's
not.
where we differ.
I'm not
Yeah.
saying it's not important.
I understand.
I'm not saying it's not important.
Yeah.
Right.
I enjoyed the
Cool.
interview as well, but I understand
Guys,
what
He
they're
sat.
saying.
My
guys.
thing is,
Me
he sat
too.
down.
Yeah.
He sat down with the right people.
Yeah.
They asked the right questions,
Sure.
and wherever it lives, and we can view it at. You can talk about it if you want, but I don't really. We got a great interview.
You know what I'm
That's
gonna
all
do?
I care about.
I'm gonna call justice so we can settle this argument.
No, but
And this is not an argument. We're not arguing in
No,
2020.
it's not an argument. It's just saying.
It's a
like,
healthy
but,
conversation.
but we do know that when you say sitting down with the biggest artist, right?
Sure.
That things they're gonna go differently.
Of course,
You know,
they are.
That's all.
Man,
But
you know what
that's-
happens when you sit down with the biggest interviewers?
What happens?
There's a happy medium met.
And it was on title as well.
Oh, I'm not
That's what
saying
trying
that-
to tell you,
All right, more.
right? No, that's all I'm saying because your
That's
thing
the
was
only
why
point
is it
you
on
keep-
Drake's?
No, I said a lot more than that, and you,
No, but
keep,
you're-
you just
but-
married
okay,
to
but
this
you-
one point.
but
you're
your
not,
biggest-
you're not responding to nothing else I'm saying, and I've said a lot.
No, I'm responding to everything you're saying.
No, you're
I'm
not.
just saying
you just
that
keep telling me it was on
doesn't-
title the next day. We got that part. I said a lot more than that, and you just keep telling me
He's
that
just
about the
Joe's
politics
talking
of it.
about the fact that
I'm talking
Drake.
about the information received and how it was received and how it got. That's it.
in layman's terms, Drake controlled the production and everything, so it's
Literally
a little bit
everything.
less
Organic.
than if it was.
That's it.
Yeah, that's all. That's all he's
nothing-
saying.
He
That's what he's
edited the
saying.
whole
I got
thing.
eyes, so I mean that part just can't be ignored.
Right. That's all he's saying.
But we do agree that the biggest artist in the world, it's gonna go like that. Like it's gonna be edited the way they want it. The coloring and everything is gonna look the way.
Nah, he should have been allowed to. He should have been allowed to make edits. He shouldn't have been allowed to do edits to control the footage. I wouldn't have done that at all.
I don't
Hell,
know.
you kidding
now
me?
to all of that,
Are
I don't
you
know.
nuts?
I don't know how much of the editing Drake controlled or not. I don't know.
I'm going to interview Beyonce, and then after the interview, I'm handing her my footage. No, I'm not.
Oh well, then you just don't get the Beyonce interview. Then that's all.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
You gotta be fucking kidding me here.
I'm just saying. I understand when you sit down with the biggest artists, things change. There are different terms. There are different. This is not gonna go the same way as if you're sitting down interviewing whoever.
Shit
I
on
understand
somebody.
what you're saying.
I understand that point too. I'm in closing.
Please.
I take all of it. Me, Joe, not anybody else. Joe, my own brain, my own thinking, my own meetings and experiences with people. When it's done this way, I have to take it or the information received with a grain of salt. The same thing, the same point I just made about the Kev doc that he released and that he produced and published under his own production company. The same thing I say about the streaming companies that put out their numbers.
Right.
Like, my stance is not changing. It's not just a Drake thing. It's hard for me to receive any
Information or anything.
any information about anything when it's from the anything and produced and edited by the anything. That's it. That is not just a Drake thing.
That's fair.
That's all around the board for Joe. Yes, Joe's paranoid and cynical and jaded and all these other things, but that will just always be the case for me. With all that said, I did really enjoy the interview.
Great interview.
Yeah.
Do y'all think it was a lot of editing to this though?
It didn't feel that way.
I don't think it was a lot of editing
like
to this
that.
at all.
I wasn't nitpicking.
Honestly. Like looking at it, I didn't see.
That's kind of it wouldn't have been so much to edit because he was the person talking. Am I off in that?
I said my piece at the beginning of this argument.
Yeah, what would there be to edit if he basically gets like a run on? And I love the run on, but they did let him run on as they should have.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you say editing, depends on how you look at editing. Do I think that questions were pre-screened? I don't know. But I mean, if they were, like you said, to your point, I mean, that's how stars move. So here, these are the questions I'm going to ask. With that said, maybe there wouldn't be so much for Elliot and them to say or freestyle on the spot. But yeah, that's editing to me.
Back to what